As you know, manual report generation can be time consuming and can reduce your efficiency using Xporter and Jira as a whole. To mitigate this, we introduced the report scheduling feature to automate your report generation. With this feature, you'll be able to get reports delivered to you by email, attached to a Jira ticket, or stored in a file server like an SFTP server or a Confluence server. It will also streamline your workflows with automated report generation. It will reduce the amount of time you take building and generating reports to actually spend time analyzing and do some decision making based on our Xporter reports, and it will have a seamless integration with your existing Jira Cloud environment using the already existent Jira based templates from Xporter and our X-ray focused templates as an example. So now let me briefly showcase how to use schedule reports. First and foremost, my best advice to you whenever you're using Xporter is to make sure that you have the correct settings and everything that you need set it up first. So let's go into our app page. Let's go into Xporter options. And first of all, let's make sure that we have enable Xporter schedule reports active. With that done, we need to make sure that we have a template with the correct scope. With Xporter reports, we introduced a new scope called scheduled reports. So let's say that, for instance, I want this issue detail Excel template to have this option. I will edit our template, I will go to the scopes, and I will see here schedule reports. Just press this one as well, and I'll update the template scope. This will allow me later to choose this template whenever I'm creating my schedule. Now, since I mentioned that we can store the outcome of this automation into a file server, you should also create your file server first, because you'll need to choose it from the list whenever you are closing your report scheduling. Last but not least, make sure that you have at least one ticket in your backlog if you want to attach the schedule report to a ticket. And for email, you are all covered up, because for Jira Cloud you have everything set it up by Atlassian, so there's no configuration need to be done there. One quick tip: Xporter reports will allow you to filter the issues you want to fetch. So if you want, you can either prepare a filter from your Jira issues to then later select it, like this one. Okay, you can select, for instance, all the stories with the status done and in progress, and save the filter to be used later. So let's say Xporter webinar. You can also prepare your JQL query if you want, because you'll be able to use those as well. Now let's continue. So where can you find this feature? There's actually three places. The first one is in here in the Manage Apps part. So you can open schedule reports and you'll see this new homepage. I already have one configured here. Let's create a second one. So for the name, we can call it Test Webinar. Description, Test works as well. Now we have two options. The first one is to enable the schedule report. So this is important if you want to make sure that this report will be set as active after save. Then you have the execute only when there is data available. This one will make sure that you will only get an automated report if you have data from either your JQL or your filter. This will make sure that you are not being spammed with empty reports day after day, depending on the scheduling that you are setting up. So let's also take this one as active. Now we have the scheduling part. So for scheduling, we have mainly two options. The first one is what we call a basic scheduling. We allow you to set up the recurrency between every year, month, week, day, and hour. So let's say that if you want your report to run every hour at 30 minutes. For the time zone, I'm in actually Europe, Lisbon is correct, but we have a lot of options in here. Feel free to select which one suits you the most. one important thing that we do is we actually show you when the next runs will be. So this will allow you to make sure that you are using and selecting the correct schedule. Then we also have the advanced option, which is called a cron expression. Basically, we allow you to input a cron expression to make sure that you have more freedom, or if you are someone that is actually used to cron expressions to have cron jobs running in your projects, you can use them in here. We actually build a validator, so if you input a non-valid cron expression, this will tell you so. So let me make sure that it works. So in here, it will actually run at 12 a.m. on the 12th day of each month. For time being, let's use basic. Now we arrive at the condition part. So basically we need to tell Xporter how or which issues we want to filter. And for this, we can either go back and copy paste our JQL query. It will actually test the query and make sure that we have all the issues in here, or we can choose from a saved filter. The one I created before, Xporter webinar, here it is. Now we need to select a template. So from all the templates that exist within your Xporter instance and template list, you need to make sure, as mentioned before, to add the report scheduling scope so that you can then select them from here. For now we have 3. Let's select, for instance, this second one. Filter results with cover page, and let's select an output file format. So for now we can say PDF. Output file name will be webinar. Now we have the actions. Basically in here you will define how are you going to get your automated report. There are 3 actions that you can select. Attach your report to an issue, get your report by email, or upload your report to a file server. You can have the 3 active at the same time, but you can only have one of each. So for now, let's use the attach file to issue option. We will then show you a list of existing issues for you to select. We can use this one, export 10, and then you can define if you want to have the default file name. So choose if the file that will be attached will have the same file name defined below, or if you want to have a custom one. So for the issue, let's say that I actually want webinar 2 to be the file name. And here it is, fully added. I can activate, deactivate the status. I'm also able to edit and to delete. Now let's select a different one. So let's use the update to file server. As mentioned before, please make sure that you have a file server previously configured, otherwise you won't be able to do so. So worst case scenario, you will need to save and then edit your schedule. So file server webinar already here. For this one, I don't want to define a default file name, so I'll just press add. And last but not least, I want to get my report by email. So for this, I will choose my working email. The subject could be test schedule reports. Please find the report on the attachments. You have multiple formatting options, so if you want to center this, if you need to change color, add an emoji, so on and so forth. So we actually use all of these components to make sure that you are able to customize your email. And on this one, we also have the same option to define a default file name or not, or to override the default file name, which we actually don't. So let's press add. And now with everything done, we can review what we did, or we can simply save and publish our scheduling. And here we have it. We have test webinar schedule in here. You have the output type. You will have the template that is being used, so you can actually click and it will download the template for you to see what is going to happen. Then you have the next run defined, the frequency, the delivery types, the owner, logs. So for reports that already ran, you can go into the audit logs and see all the runs for scheduled reports by filtering in here. Let me just go back. Status, which you can turn on and off, and you will get a success warning each time. And then you'll have the options to either delete or to edit. You can see that at the top right you have something called active schedule reports, 2 of 10. Currently it's only possible to have 10 active schedule at the same time throughout your instance. So please be aware that you will need to manage your active schedule reports to make sure that you do not go above this threshold. As mentioned before, there are other ways where you can use and create schedule reports. So we did it in this global admin options. You can also open our app page and you will see the schedule reports inside. Okay, and this will be the same schedule reports as before, or you can actually dig a bit deeper and schedule reports on a project level. So Xporter allows you to add settings on project level. To make sure that you have these enabled, please make sure to go into apps, Xporter, then project settings, and make sure that these project settings are active to the current project that we are working on. For now, it's correct. We are working on this demo Scrum project. So if I go back, I press project settings, I will see here under apps the Xporter option. And now that I'm here, I'll have 3 project level settings that I can fiddle with. So the first one is templates. And once again, it's really important to make sure that we have the correct scopes on a template. So I will actually enable schedule reports in this template to make sure that we can use it later. Permission schemes, not worth mentioning, but you can indeed set up some permission schemes on a project level, and then you have the schedule reports option. For now, we don't have any schedule reports created here, but we can create one rather quickly. So let's say that this one will be Xporter 2, description can be tests. We will actually set this one as not enabled and to execute only when there is data available. For the scheduling itself, we can say that we want to run every 15th of each month and on every Wednesdays at 10. Let's just check. So for March, actually this will run on the next Wednesday, April the 15th, which is a Monday. Then it runs for all the remaining days. So it's a happy coincidence that for May the 15th is also Wednesday, but you get the point. This isn't it correct. You can also use the advanced version if you want. For the conditions, we actually had a JQL query before that you can use. So 10 issues found. For the templates, indeed, we only have one, as we've seen before. Output file format, we can select PDF, but we have the multiple options in here as usual with Xporter, and output file name will be project settings report. For the actions, for this one, let's say that I only want to attach it to an issue. And there we go. We have the schedule report in here. We can press it as active. And if we do so, it will actually count to the increment, so 3 out of 10. And that's mainly it for our scheduled reports feature. So now I will show you the outcome of the schedule reports we just built. So first of all, let's check how this looks into the SFTP file server that we had set it up. So this is the set it up instance that I have. It's actually here, the PDF. So if I open, I'll be able to download and to open this file. So all the issues are here with the summary, the subtasks, the assignee, so everything that was actually inside the template. Once again, please remember that all of this is fully configurable by you within the template, so we will just actually run and iterate over the amount of issues that either the filter or the JQL query will catch. Now let's go into the email. So here we have it with the correct lineup. I can open the PDF. It will be exactly the same as the one before. Here we have it. It's all good. It will work, and you will get all of the needed details and reports delivered to your email in an automated way. And last but not least, we need to check in our issues if the reports were actually attached to the issues or not. Yep, here it is, webinar 2. So we can open it, we can check, it's exactly the same as the ones before. And I think it pretty well demonstrates on how this feature works and how can you leverage report scheduling to enhance your Jira and Xporter use cases.